welcome. And I last saw you on the London stage of the Haymarket Theatre doing Country Wife, which was an amazing piece of swashbucklery, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun,
But now, Wired. Now, this is seems to me a very timely television film, but filmed before all this crash happened. But tell us about it. It's all about city bankers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically about Jodie Whittaker's character is a kind of middle-ranking woman who works in a bank, single mother. She's hard up for money, and she has had in her past. She's had a little flirtation with like minor fraud, which hasn't come out. But she starts being blackmailed to do a bigger fraud for this Asian gang. And my character is a guy called Crawford Hill who works for the Serious Fraud Office. And
does she know this?
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. She discovers this, but. I mean, you don't really know what my interest is in her. Is it vaguely romantic? Does he want to protect her, or is he just an ambitious cop who wants to solve the case?
So, did it open your eyes as to what goes on in the city that you weren't aware of before? All this high-level fraud, because now it's not a case of breaking into a bank and taking the money. It's all done with screens and keyboards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, it totally. I mean, I'd actually had an experience where. I was on holiday, my wife comes from New Zealand, I was in New Zealand and I tried to get some money out of the bank and my card was rejected. I rang up my bank and they said, yeah, well, we've stopped your card because £10,000 has been withdrawn over the last 2 weeks in Bangkok. And I mean, it was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me because it's very unnerving when it happens.
Literally, they take your identity away, don't
exactly.
they?
And also, money is so, it's so inculcated in our life that actually, as soon as somebody threatens that, it sort of switches a kind of switch in your brain. You get very kind of nervous about everything. So I got the money back, but I went in and in researching this, I went and met some guy from the Serious Fraud Office, and it was the first question I asked him. I mean, nothing about the project. I was like, hey, how did this guy, because, it happens.
But you've had your taste of playing the bad men. I mean, the Bond movie was fabulous. That fencing scene with Pierce Brosnan. Is playing a Bond baddie one of those kind of... Did you feel it was iconic? I am now a Bond baddie. It's sort of a nice thing to have on my CV.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me it was... I mean, it's quite intimidating because you're becoming part of the Bond franchise, and there's so much expectation for each movie, and for the baddie, there's a lot of expectation because to a certain extent, you're driving the story, and if the baddie's not that great, it's a bit flat. So it was quite. Do
you get any support as the kind of baddie on screen? Because I mean, everything's sort of built around, in that case, Piers, and now it's Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Did you feel a bit kind of a job, as it were, to keep your role going, your end up, as it were?
Well, I mean, because I hadn't ever experienced anything quite on that level before. I mean, I'd done movies, but I mean, it's huge. It's the biggest thing we do, apart from Harry Potter, you suddenly feel slightly out of your depth, put it that way. But after a while, I got into it, and I knew that they weren't going to fire me. I mean, that was the thing. I constantly kind of walked into work thinking they're going to fire me today. They're just going to,
Am I written out?
Yeah, exactly.
The easiest thing there, Toby, you never thought about it. Just kill him. With you got the rapier, run him through.
Yeah, I know. I wish it was that easy.
A bit slow on that one. Now, your mum, Maggie Smith, your dad, Robert Stevens. So, two giants in the acting industry. Was it always taken for granted that you would, or quite the reverse? Did they say, don't come into the business?
Well, I mean, my mum was very... I mean, she didn't encourage me actively. I mean, she was very realistic about it. I mean, it's a tough profession, and she knew that herself. Although she'd had some great breaks and she was very successful, it doesn't mean that it's a blank check for me and that it's going to be,
It closes as many doors as it opens, or it raises more challenges.
Exactly.
Then it helps.
But she was very, she was quite tough on me. I mean, she said, you have to go and see plays, you have to read plays, you have to go and watch movies, you have to work at it. You can't just expect it to happen.
Well, Wired begins tonight?
Tonight, yeah.
Tonight on ITV1. We look forward to seeing it. The trailers have been extremely compelling. You've thought, I want to find out what's going on here. So
yeah, it's good. It's a
we
good
shall
show.
tonight.
So,
Great to meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, Toby Stephens. Still to come, my WI Calendar girls show you how to get Christmas sorted without ever leaving your front door. We ask, are we paying our GPs too much money? And the girl who brightened up the nation's breakfast tables, Gabby Roslin. Plus, how you could win your shopping bill on us as we give away £10,000 worth of supermarket vouchers. Don't go anywhere.